the Conservatives have lost the confidence of the House of Commons.
Don't steal our votes! Don't steal our votes! Don't steal our votes! Don't steal our votes!
Welcome back to CBC News Sunday. Unprecedented times, of course, across the country this weekend. Rallies are being held in support of the minority Conservative government, while other rallies are being held for the Liberal-led coalition that wants to bring down the government. This during this proroguement of Parliament and this very unusual period in Canadian history. On Thursday, the Governor-General granted Stephen Harper's request to prorogue Parliament. So now we're in this cooling-off period, almost a kind of phony war before a possible election until MPs return to the House in late January to vote on the budget. The Conservatives are using the time to sell the budget, while Liberal leadership contender Bob Rae, among others, is doing the opposite. Bob Rae is crossing the country to sell the idea of the coalition to Canadians. He joins us now from Winnipeg. Bob Rae, very good to see you.
Good to see you, Evan. How are you?
Very good. Let me ask you, polls have shown that Canadians, after the proroguement was granted, that really Canadians are not really in support of this coalition, that more people would like to see some stability and the minority Conservative government stay. What case are you making now for the coalition to vote down the government in January and take over?
Well, I think the case to be made is quite simple. Mr. Harper has a minority. He has failed to gain the confidence of the House. He's behaved in such a way that he has lost the confidence, and I think it's more than just the confidence. I think he's lost the trust of members of Parliament from the three opposition parties, and quite frankly, that's the cause of the problem that we had. And then because he didn't want to face a confidence vote, he suspended Parliament. Let's not use fancy language. He stopped Parliament from working. So that there couldn't be a vote, and that's what he's done. He's obviously going to be preparing his next steps in terms of whatever he plans to do, and so will the members of the Liberal Party, the members of the New Democratic Party be going out and talking to Canadians about the kind of budget that we want to bring in, about the kind of changes that we want to make so that we can get the economy, make the economy stronger and be more effective in responding to a recession which is hitting us just as it's hitting every other country in the Western world.
Mr. Rae, tell me how you respond to, obviously, the rhetoric coming from the Conservatives, and we'll hear it a bit later in the show, but this notion that this is a coalition propped up by the separatists, therefore it's unprecedented, therefore Canadians should not support it. How do you sell this to Canadians that the coalition really depends on support from a party that wants to rip apart Canada?
Well, Evan, I'm surprised that somebody of your intelligence would give in to that kind of rhetoric. I mean, first of all, Parliament has to be made to work. There are four parties in Parliament. They've all been elected. There are a couple of independent members. They've all been elected. The Bloc Québécois has been elected to Parliament since the early 90s when Lucien Bouchard, who'd been a Conservative, crossed the floor and set up a new party. So, look, I mean, the Bloc has supported the Conservatives. The Bloc has supported the Liberals. The Bloc has voted confidence in Mr. Harper, I think 14 times in the last while. So, this notion somehow that there's something unique. The only thing that's unique is the Bloc has said we won't actually defeat a government for 18 months. We will give up our right to move non-confidence for 18 months. So that's the only thing that's changed. And all this talk about, I think what Mr. Harper has done, quite frankly, is probably one of the most divisive things that a Prime Minister has done in the last nearly 100 years. It hasn't been since the crisis of 1917 that we've had a government deliberately attack an opposition party for taking a position and being called unpatriotic for doing so. To me, it's just what Mr. Harper has done is, if there was nothing else that he's done, even his behavior this last week makes me believe very strongly that his conduct is not worthy of somebody who wants to be Prime Minister. And I think Canadians have to wake up to that fact.
There is Stéphane Dion said that unless there is, quote, monumental change, that the coalition will try to take down the government and vote a non-confidence in January when the House returns. I guess the question is, was that wiggle room? In other words, is there something that the Harper government can do, change their budget, offer some new programs or policies to deal with the economic crisis that the coalition will accept and therefore not pass a non-confidence vote? Or is it inevitable?
Well, my own view is that Mr. Harper has in fact lost the confidence of the House. That the only thing that hasn't happened is he has not allowed a vote to take place. Over 160 members wrote to the Governor General a formal letter indicating that we did not have confidence in the government. So there's nothing. He has lost the confidence of the House.
He can't offer you anything? He can't offer you anything?
Offer me anything?
No,
nothing that man.
Not you.
There's nothing that guy can offer me that's going to change my mind that he's lost my confidence. He's lost my confidence. It's finished. I don't trust him. I wouldn't trust him to cross the road. I don't trust anything he says. I don't trust anything he does. And I think, that's how I feel about it. To me, it's this. But I also think we need to look at the alternative economic measures that we need to take as a country, and frankly, the alternative way in which we need to run the House of Commons. This is not just about an economic statement. It's about a government that only knows one way, its way or the highway. It's a minority government. And the way they're behaving, they're going to be forcing people to the wall every single day. That's how they do things. And it's that bullying that has to stop. What?
So so you're saying that you will, no matter what, have a non-confidence vote. Certainly you will, but I guess the question is, there's a leadership race going on, as well. We're hearing word now that at a caucus meeting later this week, Stéphane Dion will be asked to step down, and the leadership race, someone else will step in. Can you tell us anything about that today?
Well, first of all, I think Mr. Dion has indicated that as soon as a new leader is chosen, he will step down. And I think the party is obviously considering ways in which the leadership race can be moved forward. I certainly strongly believe that we need to find a leader of the party before the House comes back at the end of January. I think the caucus needs to come together. The party needs to come together, broad-based right across the country. I think we need to have a consultation that will allow that to happen. And I think there has to be a recognition of the fact that it can't simply be a small group of people behind closed doors in caucus making a final decision. I think that's completely inappropriate.
So you're saying that you'd support accelerating the leadership process even before January. Does that mean an interim leader, or do you think you could do something, really accelerate the process and get the Liberal Party to have a more formal, open leadership race?
I think we need to have an open leadership race in which the membership is directly consulted. I don't think you can, in the modern era, in 2008, I don't think you can have a leadership race that doesn't involve a direct consultation, a direct vote by the membership of the party. To me, it's inconceivable that we would be choosing a leader and seriously considering doing that without having a direct involvement of the people of Canada who are members of the Liberal Party.
Do you want to put a date on that? Can you recommend a date?
No, I think that needs to be. I think that needs to be done before the end of January. I'm quite happy to do that, but I do not believe that there should be any attempt by a small group of people in a caucus to say we're simply going to go ahead and preempt this whole process. We're going to take this matter in our own hands, and we're going to move this forward until sometime next week or something. There's been lots of rumors floating around.
Yeah.
To me, that's completely inappropriate and completely wrong. And I think Canadians and Liberals would be very upset to discover that there are some people who think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea. Is that
Michael Ignatieff, just out of interest, last question, are you and Michael Ignatieff in agreement on this, or do you think that the Ignatieff camp is pushing to do it as a less than open process, something different than you're talking about?
Well, I think all I'm going to say is we need an open process, and we'll let the other people let the other candidates say what kind of a process they favor or they want, and let's not hide behind any obfuscation. I'm saying to you very clearly, I believe there has to be an open process. I believe the party has to be involved, and the membership of the party has to be involved. And I don't think we can organize a general election in 5 weeks. I don't know why we can't organize a leadership race when there are clear candidates who are running and people who are there. I don't know why that can't be done in a reasonable period of time.
All right, Bob Rae, your views on the coalition and also on the leadership race. I want to thank you so much for joining us Sunday morning. A very busy time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Nice to talk to you.
Thank you.